movement,
communications,
design,
framework.
movement,
a group of people coordinating to change what a community believes, does, or defends.
schools,
Nonprofits.
networks,
Educational experiences.
communications design,
The visuals and language that keep a movement coherent across everything it puts out.
When we started 100 Hands Learning Lab in early 2024, we saw the problem. We could make beautiful media, but we rebuilt the system every time. When look and voice aren't consistent, people miss how it connects and they don't feel as seen by it. Methods like human-centered design and design sprints are great when you're tackling one project inside a larger communications system. There's nothing wrong with those approaches. We use them and love them. They're excellent for designing for a single deliverable when the need comes up. The problem is if you design one thing at a time, you can end up with something that works perfectly on its own, but breaks down when it has to live alongside all the other channels and messages a movement has in the world. People get overwhelmed by a flood of messages that don't culminate in one clear story. Most movements can't afford that. So we built a framework that takes what's proven and extends it so each project reinforces the story people are being asked to join. This isn't just about cutting through the noise. Attention is cheap, commitment isn't. Movements aren't about selling products, they're organizing people to see something that needs to change and bringing them together to do it. So how do we stay connected across every project without reducing people to just clicks and data? Our answer to that question is the Movement Communications Design Framework, or MCDF for short. First is Illuminate, where we dive deep before doing anything to understand the needs of all the people and stakeholders connected to the communications problem we are trying to solve. The second is Craft. We play and prototype design solutions, bringing in testers and organizational feedback to guide and refine the build. Third is Engage, where we release what we've crafted for the community it was meant for. Up through Engage, this will feel familiar if you've used design thinking or a design sprint. In design thinking, empathize and define fit inside Illuminate. Ideate and prototype fit inside Craft. And test maps to Engage when the work meets the public. Most processes focus on getting to launch and learning fast. Movements have to live with what happens after. That's why the MCDF adds 2 stages. Foster for the response right after launch, and sustain for staying relevant over time. Foster starts once you're live, when the community responds and you start seeing what's sticking. Our research shows that positive interactions with a movement can become part of someone's identity. That's why feedback, participation, and iteration aren't optional. They're how movements stay connected to the people they serve. Sustain is the final stage. It asks, does this still fit months or years later? And if not, what needs to change? It's the reminder that movement messaging has to be built to last. This isn't short-term marketing. Movements are asking people to join, belong, and stay committed, sometimes for years, decades, or a lifetime. We've been wrestling with versions of this framework for years before we ever named it. Teams would ask for a website, a logo, a campaign. We'd make it, launch it, and move on. Then later they'd come back and say, something feels off. What we launched back then isn't working anymore, and we don't know why. So we zoomed out and looked at everything the audience was seeing, and what we found wasn't one clear through line. It was a patchwork. Strong pieces that didn't add up to a single recognizable story. We realized we'd been solving one deliverable at a time. The work could succeed on its own, but the story kept drifting as new projects piled up. Then it hit us. We were framing the problem wrong. That's when we shifted from treating teams like clients to working with them like movements. We define movements as a group of people coordinating to change what a community believes, does, or defends. Not every school, network, nonprofit, or educational experience will see itself as a movement. That said, if an organization depends on people choosing to believe, do, or defend something together, then it has the same design problem as a movement, which is coherence over time. Once we treated the communications system as a movement challenge, the question became, what keeps a story coherent across years, channels, and leadership changes? Because movements don't win on recognition alone. They win when people carry the story and repeat the actions. So we did the homework. We studied movement history, how complex struggles get distilled into simple, repeatable signals. We dug into neuroscience and social psychology, why some visuals and phrases stick, how familiarity builds trust, and why belonging can turn interest into commitment. We learned from ethical and activist design traditions that push the harder question: who does this serve and what responsibility comes with shaping the story? Those threads kept pointing to the same conclusion. The tools can look similar: clarity, repetition, consistency, but the purpose is different. This isn't about selling products. It's about people, helping them see what needs to change and making it easier to join together and carry that story forward over time. So we translated what we learned into a repeatable 5-stage cycle. That's what the MCDF was built to protect: coherence across change. Not just at launch, but as the movement grows, learns, and adapts. So does it work? We asked the same thing when we introduced the MCDF at San Diego Design Week in September 2025. 12 participants joined our first movement storytelling lab. We gave them the first edition of the Movement Storytelling Workbook, a quick guide to the MCDF plus 4 worksheets: value building, storyboarding, visual identity, and tagline drafting. Hi, we are 100 Hands Learning Lab, and this is the launch of our movement communications design framework. You're gonna have 4 minutes to work alone, and then we're gonna work with our small groups to do some feedback. And go.
So, for example, like, have you put problems?
Switch to the next person if you haven't. One of the things that I love about this worksheet specifically is it's really about helping you tell the story of what your movement's trying to accomplish. The next one is the visual identity worksheet. Try not to think about it as a logo. About 20 seconds left. Not to apply a ton of pressure, sorry.
I need AI.
Okay, time. We're gonna do the last one, the tagline ladder. And again, the focus here is something that's memorable. Feedback. It's gonna be lightning quick.
Just the last one, the final one? Sure. Yeah. Pause to enjoy what's already here.
Healing communities one tree at a time.
Detecting fatty liver disease when it's reversible.
Building bridges to belong.
When I was in your workshop, I really appreciated your approach. Your questions and your prompts in the book were really centered on like community. It was really centered on human and heart-centered.